Hi everybody, Alan Adler here from Sustainable Community Life. And today I'm coming to you live from the amazing Dancing Rabbit Ecovillage in northern Missouri. I've been here for about 7 days and having an amazing time taking in what I think is one of the most sustainable ecological communities that I've ever had the opportunity to see. And I wanted to record this podcast on a rather personal note, having to do with my own capacities to live lightly on the earth and to live in a community that really does what I'll say as a byline that I think Dancing Rabbit should have, really does deal with its shit. I say that literally and figuratively because in this community, the way that human manure is handled is that people go to the bathroom in buckets, collect the buckets, and then take them to compost. And that's called Humi Run. And I'll share some video of a Humi Run with a friend I've made here and show you what that's all about. So these are buckets that you poop in, and then when they're filled up, put a lid on them and take them to some place that we're going to go to.
So the process here is I'll take these buckets, dump them into, first I'll move some straw around, then you dump your shit bucket into the bin.
Yeah.
And
then you put some more straw on top?
Water too.
So is that previous poop down there that you're messing with?
Yep, it is. It is the rest of the village. We all gotta shit somewhere, and it's better than shitting
in a sewer.
A toilet where it gets flushed into the ocean
Totally.
or something. This one is very full.
And of course you get used to spilling it on yourself, right?
I still try not to.
Of course.
But yeah.
It's inevitable.
Usually
though.
you don't fill them this full. Or at least I try not to,
Or
but
you
I don't know.
You try to take it out before it's that full.
Yeah, usually you try to take it out when it's 3/4 of the way full.
The reason I think the expression "deal with your shit" is so valuable is because, as I mentioned, this podcast is a rather personal reflection on my own incapacity to deal with my shit. I say that because what brought me into this calling to explore potential community was a recognition that I had for the very, very vast majority of my life lived out of sync with nature. And by that I mean that I grew up in a society, which is very much the predominant theme today in our world, that operated as if there were a variety of things that needed to be excluded from awareness, consideration, not to be dealt with. And of course, when we poop in the water and flush it and it goes down into a sewer, it disappears. It's one of the many things in conventional society that we don't want to deal with. And we could make a long list of the things we don't want to deal with. And I would say that in a nutshell, I realize that I am a product of a society that is unconscious to the way that we interact with nature. And I was surprised when I came here because I've spent quite a lot of the last couple of years really getting into what I thought was a very intimate relationship with God and with nature, and really feeling the embodied sense of nature and being able to be in nature and feel like I was in my element because I am nature. I am the earth, and the ecosystem has increasingly been part of me, not unfriendly. But what I find really interesting about living in a place where interacting with nature, particularly the way that we use natural resources and the way we deal with our trash and our shit, is at a very high level of fidelity, that I'm able to see that there's a part of me that still is quite numb to a truly integrated and harmonized way of being with and in nature. Here in Missouri, there are a lot of bugs. And I noticed that my relationship with the bugs, somewhat similar to my relationship with shit, is I want to get it away from me. And although, of course, you don't want ticks crawling on you, and they have these little things called tiggers, which are these incredibly small bugs that manage to climb up into you. There's no way you'd want them, but it's just really interesting when I notice my resistance to seeing my body as being a part of nature and truly realizing that if I'm going to live in nature, there are going to be bugs on me. And that bugs me in a way that I notice feels like an unconscious avoidance of trying to be close to and a part of nature. I think an even bigger personal reflection, and this one's even harder to really admit to and to relate to, is that I'm a product of a money culture. Everything in my consciousness, in my upbringing, in my orientation, in my value system is related to and about money in some way or another, as if to say that money is the true store of value. If I have more money, I have more value. If less money, I have less value. And I'm coming to believe that is an aspect of unconsciousness and disconnection from nature, where money is treated as if it is more valuable than nature. Of course, if you have a lot of money, you can buy nature, you can buy land, you can buy people to clean the land, you can buy showers to wash the bugs off. You don't have to worry about your shit because it flushes somewhere and you can pay someone to haul your shit away, or you can hire a sewer company, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this concept that money is the store of value and that nature is not the ultimate equilibrator and ultimate equalizer of value is really a distortion, and I think an unconsciousness that is so pervasive. I really got in touch with it here because one of the aspects of living in a intentional community like Dancing Rabbit is that although there is some money in this culture, money is a means to get things done, but not the end. The end is really living in a state of harmony with nature and with each other, and living a socioeconomic life that's based on making both of those things work, along with political structure and along with various other ways that we cohabitate in order to live a life of meaning and enough comfort, I should say, enough comfort in order to feel that we can enjoy ourselves to some degree. But the important message that I want to convey, which again is extremely personal relationship, is that when I find that the operating model is living with each other and living with nature, that's the job to be done. The job to be done does not involve a separate activity to go collect money so that we can then have the ability to buy things. So what's happened in this awakening is that I found myself almost a stranger in and among a system that I don't really understand. My system is looking for ways to be productive, looking for ways to achieve, and much of that which I have been trained to achieve has nothing to do with living in harmony with nature. In fact, it has to do with accumulation so that I can essentially keep nature out and be clean and be comfortable and give myself conveniences such as air conditioning or flush toilets or what have you, that in a way are unconscious to their true cost. And I think this is the part that really is causing me to really think in a more personal and incisive way, is that if in fact the vast majority of my life is lived in a truly non-quantified way in terms of the impact on nature, if I don't know what the impact is of buying something, if I don't know what the impact is of paying someone, because I'm not able to really understand how that relates to natural systems, how that relates to nature, then I am living unconscious to the responsibility that I have to make sure that I'm not taking an undue share of the Earth's natural resources. On prior podcasts, I've talked about the average American consuming 4.9 times the amount of resources that the Earth provides. And of course, if everyone lived like Americans, we'd need 5 Earths. So every single time that I consume unconsciously and exceed the carrying capacity of 1/9 billionth of the Earth, I'm essentially stealing Earth resources from others, including my children. I'm taking something that does not belong to me, that the Earth cannot sustain in me. And what is my justification for this? I can do it. I have the resources to do it. I live in a system that's so toxified that all that I've just talked about is normalized as if that's just how it is. But the big part of the reason I'm doing sustainable community life is because I think that we very much as a society need forms of lifeboats that, as the super tankers that we've been riding for the last 500 years finally sink into the water of unsustainability, people are going to need to jump on another boat. And I believe that these eco-villages and other intentional communities like them really offer that. I'd say the last thing I'd like to share today is a reflection about my journey. I had made the intention to visit all intentional communities, and one of the things I've noticed about most of them which is that they're co-housing versus eco-villages, is that they really don't attend to the challenge of sustainable community from the standpoint of ecological viability. And it's causing me to rethink what my journey is going to be like as I digest the ways in which I have discovered my long journey to deprivilege myself, to demonetize and dematerialize my life. Until next time, hopefully this somber version of the podcast won't be too much of a drag for you. Talk soon.